Hi, this is Victoria and Gameful Isolation video number 6, and today I would like to talk about the third component that self-gamification brings together, and this is gamification or whatever appears gameful or playful. Gamification is an approach to bringing game elements into real-life contexts. And it has been applied worldwide in different applications and for different purposes. But in self-gamification, I consider this gameful component, or the third tool, is everything what appears gameful or playful. And when people ask me why it makes sense to turn our lives into fun games, it used to be the first reason that I was giving was that the drama was falling away. But nowadays, with COVID-19 pandemic, the drama is simply there. We hear about people dying, so many people dying, and the economic situation is so unsure. So the drama is there, and even some uplifting of the drama seems like useless. But there is another reason which comes for me right now in the foreground, why it makes sense to turn our lives into fun games. And this is resourcefulness. With self-gamification, it becomes effortless. And this resourcefulness actually has three reasons of its own. The first reason is that games are safe environments. So when you turn anything into fun games, then it's safe to test, to come up with ideas, to not be afraid of the failure, to be excellent, to give everything. So that's the first reason. And the second reason is that games are simply multidimensional. They embrace storytelling, they embrace behavioral science, they include economical sciences and research, and actually everything, including the fantasy imagination of us humans, but also our history. It's just an amazing well of inspiration. But the third reason is actually the most important, I think, and this is the fundamental structure of games and also of projects. From the famous game designer Jane McGonigal, I learned that games have four main components, and these are goals, rules, feedback systems, and voluntary participation. And when I heard about that, I was thinking, wow, any contract I have or sign with my customers has all four components. And any employment contract, for example, if you think so, there is goals describing your role, there are rules how you have to perform it, there is feedback system with your boss, and voluntary participation is your signature and your boss's signature. So that's just amazing. There are these four components. So when you notice that you cannot engage into a project, then as a game designer, you can actually adjust the three first components, the goals, the rules, the feedback system, so that voluntary participation becomes seamless and effortless, and you can't wait to start the project. So in self-gamification, I consider voluntary participation as the will to see your project as games. This is the special thing about self-gamification, but also to develop them and to play them and to test them. Because in games, voluntary participation means exactly that you agree to goals, to rules, to feedback systems, and you have also free will to come into the game, to play it, but also to leave it. And that was quite inspiring for me, because in real life projects, you might think, okay, if I sign a contract, I have to stay with it, but if I cancel it, I cancel it for all the time. But actually, this leaving of the contract, not of the contract, but of the project or activity, could mean that you just stop doing it right now for some time, maybe making a break, having a break, doing something else, and then coming back again. So this free will to leave something, a real life activity, doesn't mean that you need to give it up. You can still complete the contract and everything, but you can actually make a break and maybe think of a new, stop playing it, design it, so play a designer game. So you adjust your rules, your goals, your feedback system in such a way that it becomes fun for you. So let's see a few examples for the goals, rules, and feedback system. How can you adjust them? For the goals, for example, you can call them quests. And this I learned from one of the leading gamification designers, uh, Dr. Zach Fitzwalter. And in his newsletter from the beginning of this year, 2020, he wrote, I recommend adopting the word quest instead of goals. A quest instills notions of an epic journey, a journey that will be hard work but provide you with a sense of accomplishment once completed. A quest will become a defining part of your hero's story. Yes, so you become a hero on a mission to save something. For example, yesterday I was on a mission to save the skin on the hands of my daughter with cream so that they are not too dry. Yes, I was on a mission, on a mission, and that's when you take parallels with games, you start smiling, you become resourceful. Let's look at the rules. If you have rules often in games, they are very funny and sometimes not making very much sense. One of the famous examples are golf, that you have the goal is actually in the game is to take the ball and get it into the hole, but the rules are that you shouldn't do the straightforward thing, that take a ball and just drop it into the hole, but you need to use the club and to hit it from a long distance. So but still players love it and they do it, so you could do the same. It doesn't have to be a complex, you don't need special tools, but it can be something silly and funny. For example, I like giving an example of email that you might procrastinate. We all had some of those. So what you could do, you just introduce something silly like running around your chair for 3 times. What? Why could it be helpful? Because you start smiling. You introduce the silly game and think, and then you just, yeah, your frown is away. Your attitude changes because when you sit back, you suddenly relaxed. You broke that anger or maybe reluctance or some dark thoughts that you had. You broke it with something silly. You started grinning, and then the whole attitude changes. So you start looking at your email with new eyes. And especially this element of games, you cannot feel the game until you start playing it. Then you suddenly, okay, it's a game. Okay, I will do it. So, and that's why it makes sense just to come up with some ideas for the rules that can make it exciting. And the third is feedback system. It's the same approach. So you measure your progress, and you can, well, use those that you already have, like different tracking system, habit tracking, or whatever in the project's roadmaps and so on. And the whole progresses and lists that you have. But you can add something fun. You can make, put some points, some tally, or you can write whatever you take a few seconds time and record what you achieved and give you, for example, what I do. For each 5 of those steps and different things that I managed, I give myself a star. So, and I see at the end of the day how many stars I gathered. Or for my well-being games, I gather donuts and color them. It's silly, but it takes very little time, just like a few seconds, to draw a donut and color it. Or maybe I color them at the end of the day. But it slows me down for a second, for a tiny second, breaks those, worrisome thoughts. Oh, I have to manage more and so on, and brings me back into the moment. So it's just absolutely amazing what can be done just with these simple tools. And there is another brilliant byproduct of all that, is that those you communicate with or work with, or the family, I show it here because it's behind my family is there in the house, they stop being someone you might resent, or someone that messes something up for you or whatever. They start being your co-players. They're your allies in the game, and this is wonderful. And the goal for all that for self-gamification is basically to do whatever you do in real life and to help you to turn it into fun, engaging, entertaining for you, and so on. And fun, in fact, is a very important tool. It's a compass. So, and I learned from Ariel and Shia Kane, they say, we realized that if we are not having fun, we are moving in the wrong direction. So whenever you see that you stop, having fun, then maybe you need to identify. So you can bring something, some elements that are fun for you. So if you do something and it's kind of it doesn't work, but you like, music and so on, you can put music on. Or you can start, reading while walking or whatever, or again, run around your chair for a couple of times. Yeah, so that just identify the fun. Where could it be right now in this moment for you? And I like calling it a fun detecting antenna. So always have your fun detecting antenna on. It's a very important tool. Always have it with you as an accessory, as an antenna, or whatever you call it. But always have it handy. And I wish you a lot of fun in turning your life into fun games. This is not the last video in this series. I will talk about a few aspects or a few lessons learned and different things that touch us during the lockdown period. So there will be more. So see you in the next video.